Have you ever felt exhausted from trying to control everything in your life? The harder you try to grasp it, the more it slips through your fingers. You spend days, months, or even years orchestrating every detail, hoping that your efforts will pay off. Yet, despite your relentless effort, things seem to fall apart even faster. You wonder why does life feel so chaotic even when you try your best to keep it in order? What if I told you that sometimes the key to peace is not to push harder but to stop, to do nothing, to surrender? It sounds paradoxical, almost foolish, doesn't it? But it might just be the most profound decision you can make. In a world that constantly urges you to act, to fix, to control, stopping feels unnatural. But what if doing nothing could actually be the path to everything falling into place? Imagine standing still in the center of a storm and watching it calm itself. Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." These words hold a quiet strength, reminding us that sometimes we must simply let life unfold without interference, trusting the process instead of forcing our will. There's a kind of magic in letting go, in stepping back and allowing life to arrange itself. It's like when an artist pauses in the midst of creation. Sometimes the most beautiful strokes come when they least expect it, when they are not forcing perfection. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It's not about abandoning your dreams or ignoring your responsibilities. It means releasing the illusion of control, acknowledging that some things are beyond your reach, and finding peace in that acceptance. Think about the seed that you plant in the earth. You water it, give it sunlight, and then you wait. You don't tug at the sprout to make it grow faster. You don't demand it to bloom overnight. Nature takes its course, and in its own time, life emerges. Sometimes our lives are just like that. We lay down our intentions, we put in the effort, and then we let go. We allow things to evolve naturally without the constant pressure of making everything happen right now. There's a story of a man who spent his life trying to control everything: his career, his family, his relationships. He strategized and planned meticulously, leaving nothing to chance. Yet, despite his efforts, his life remained a constant struggle. One day, exhausted and defeated, he simply stopped. He sat down, took a deep breath, and allowed himself to just be. In that stillness, something remarkable happened. The burdens that once felt so overwhelming began to feel lighter. It wasn't that his problems vanished. Rather, his relationship with them changed. Instead of fighting against every challenge, he started to observe, to let things flow, and to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Sometimes, stepping back and allowing things to unfold naturally is not an act of weakness but a profound strength. When we stop trying to micromanage every moment, we give space for clarity and insight to emerge. We often fear that doing nothing means giving up. But in truth, it's an invitation to connect with our deeper selves. It's about trusting that the universe has its own rhythm, and sometimes we must dance to it rather than resisting its flow. Reflect on the moments when you stopped trying so hard, when you let go of expectations and life surprised you with unexpected blessings. Those are the times when you glimpse the power of doing nothing. Life is not about forcing every piece into place, it's about creating space for things to align naturally. Sometimes, the wisest thing you can do is to pause, breathe, and watch how the world rearranges itself without your constant intervention. So, next time you feel overwhelmed, stop. Let go of the need to control and allow life to happen. You may find that the less you interfere, the more everything falls into place just as it should. Embrace the beauty of stillness. Trust the unfolding. Sometimes, doing nothing is not an action, it's the deepest form of allowing life to be what it needs to be. The paradox of doing nothing. Sometimes, the most profound thing you can do is nothing at all. It sounds contradictory, doesn't it? We live in a world that constantly pushes us to act, to fix, to change. But have you ever considered that, at times, non-action can be the wisest choice? It's not about laziness or indifference. It's about understanding the subtle power of stillness, the quiet force that emerges when we stop resisting the natural flow of life. Carl Jung spoke of this stillness as a powerful psychological tool. In Jung's view, the mind is not meant to be in constant motion, perpetually striving and battling against itself. There comes a time when we must simply be, allowing our thoughts to settle, our emotions to breathe, our hearts to quiet down. Imagine the process of healing after an intense emotional journey. You spend days examining your thoughts, analyzing your feelings, trying to piece together the fragments of your experience. But there comes a moment when the wisest choice is to pause. Jung believed that after doing the hard work of self-exploration, it is essential to rest, to let the insights sink in naturally, to pause so that what we have learned can truly become a part of us, rather than just another fleeting realization. Think about planting a seed. You prepare the soil, you water it, you make sure it has enough sunlight. And then, you wait. You can't force it to grow any faster. You don't pull at the sprout, hoping it will stretch overnight. Nature takes its own course. In the same way, after we plant the seeds of self-awareness through our efforts, we must allow time for growth. The more we try to rush the process, the more we risk disturbing the very thing we're trying to nurture. How often do we become stuck because we keep pushing, forcing, controlling? We become trapped in our own insistence that everything must unfold according to our will. But life, much like a seed, grows not from force but from gentle nourishment. Sometimes, doing nothing means stepping back from the chaos of constant intervention. It means observing rather than reacting, listening rather than speaking, and allowing rather than resisting. It's a radical acceptance of life as it is, not as we demand. This approach is not passive. It's deeply intentional. It requires courage to refrain from fixing everything immediately, to sit with discomfort without rushing to soothe it. It's about trusting that some things are meant to resolve on their own. When we practice the paradox of doing nothing, we open ourselves to a deeper wisdom. We begin to notice how life naturally moves toward balance when we don't interfere. It's like a river that clears its own path when unblocked by human hands. In the quiet, we start to hear the whispers of our true selves. We allow our thoughts to settle like dust on a still morning, revealing the clarity that was always there beneath the noise. Take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you truly did nothing? Not out of apathy, but out of a conscious choice to let life be. How did it feel to release control, to simply watch as life rearranged itself without your interference? The paradox of doing nothing is not about abandoning responsibility. It's about recognizing that after putting in our effort, the most profound action might be to step back, to let the universe breathe, and to trust that things will align in their own time. Carl Jung believed that true transformation doesn't come from force, but from allowing the unconscious to naturally integrate our realizations. When we cease our relentless striving, we create space for the soul to unfold authentically. So consider this. The next time you feel compelled to push harder, to do more, to fix every detail, pause, let go. Watch how life flows when you remove the resistance. You might find that the most profound change happens not from doing, but from being. Letting go of control. There is something deeply human about our desire to control the world around us. We spend so much of our lives planning, organizing, and managing every detail, believing that our effort alone will shape the future. But what happens when our grip becomes too tight? The urge to control every aspect of life is not just exhausting. It can be suffocating. We believe that if we just manage every variable, we can prevent things from going wrong. But in reality, life's unpredictability often laughs at our best-laid plans. Carl Jung understood the struggle well. He observed that true transformation does not come from rigid control, but from allowing the natural flow of life to guide us. It's about trusting that, after our sincere efforts, the process itself will carry us forward. Imagine a man who meticulously plans every moment of his life. Career, family, friendships. His calendar is filled to the brim, his goals mapped out in precise detail. Yet, no matter how much he strategizes, things seem to fall apart one after another. One day, burdened by disappointment and overwhelmed by the weight of unmet expectations, he finally stops trying. He lets go of his rigid plans, stops forcing things to align, and simply allows life to unfold without resistance. And in that stillness, something remarkable begins to happen. His relationships start to feel more genuine, his career path becomes clearer, and his stress slowly dissipates. It is as if, in relinquishing control, life itself starts to work in his favor. The lesson here is both simple and profound. Sometimes, surrendering control invites harmony. When we are no longer tangled in our own expectations, life has room to breathe, to evolve naturally. How many times have you found that your greatest breakthroughs come not from pushing harder, but from finally letting go? We don't often recognize it, but our insistence on control is often what blocks the very outcomes we desire. There's a kind of grace in admitting that some things are beyond our control. It doesn't mean we stop trying or abandon our goals. It means that after giving our best, we step back and trust that the universe knows how to align things in its own time. Jung believed that our unconscious mind often holds the answers we are too busy to hear. By loosening our control, we give our deeper self the space to guide us. This is not about giving up, but about creating space for intuition and wisdom to surface. The practice of letting go doesn't come easily. Our minds are conditioned to solve, to manage, to predict. But what if, instead of forcing an answer, we let the question linger? What if we simply allowed things to unfold in their own time without rushing to resolve every uncertainty? Next time you find yourself overwhelmed, ask, am I trying too hard to control this? What if I just let things be for a while? Sometimes the answer you're looking for is not hidden in more effort, but in the quiet space where effort ceases. There's a profound wisdom in allowing life to flow. When we release our grip, we don't lose ourselves. Instead, we find a deeper sense of self. A self that trusts in the process rather than forcing every outcome. Just as the man in the story discovered, stepping back doesn't mean abandoning responsibility. It means recognizing that life itself has a rhythm, and sometimes we must pause to hear it. It's a dance between effort and surrender, between intention and acceptance. In the end, letting go of control is not an act of weakness, but a courageous declaration of faith in the unfolding of life. It's about allowing the universe to do its work after we have done ours. So, reflect on this. What are you still holding too tightly? What would happen if you gave yourself permission to release it? Would you find that, in doing nothing, everything quietly falls into place? Facing your shadow. There's a profound depth within each of us that we often hesitate to explore. It's the place where our fears reside, where our regrets linger, and where the parts of ourselves that we'd rather not acknowledge quietly persist. This is the realm Carl Jung called the shadow self. The shadow self is not inherently evil or malicious. It is simply the aspects of our personality that we have pushed away, hidden from view because they do not align with the version of ourselves that we wish to present to the world. It is our anger, our jealousy, our pain, left in the dark. Jung believed that to achieve true self-discovery, one must be willing to confront this shadow. Not to eliminate it or suppress it, but to understand it, to listen to what it's trying to tell us. For in those dark corners of our being, there lies a path to healing and wholeness. It's human to feel uncomfortable when faced with our own darkness. We tend to think that being good means erasing these flaws, but the truth is that denial only strengthens their hold. By rejecting our shadow, we give it power. By accepting it, we reclaim that power for ourselves. Imagine carrying a heavy, locked box with you wherever you go. You've never opened it, afraid of what might spill out. One day, exhausted from the weight, you finally unlock it only to find that it's filled with memories. Painful, yes, but also meaningful, waiting to be acknowledged. In accepting our shadow, we learn to see ourselves more honestly. We recognize that our flaws are not failures but aspects of being human. They are parts of our story. Messy, imperfect, and yet essential to our growth. There is no light without shadow, no purity without the messiness of existence. Instead of suppressing our flaws, we must acknowledge them without judgment. In doing so, we disarm them. We stop fighting ourselves and, instead, learn to live with our imperfections, recognizing that they too have a voice that needs to be heard. Have you ever found yourself resisting your own feelings? Pushing down anger, denying sadness, pretending to be unaffected? What would it feel like to simply acknowledge these emotions without trying to change them? To say, this is part of me and it's okay. When we face our shadow, we may find that it's not as terrifying as we thought. It holds not just pain but also creativity, passion, and the raw essence of who we are. By accepting it, we unlock a deeper authenticity, a richer understanding of ourselves that goes beyond superficial positivity. There's no need to fear the shadow. It is simply a part of us, seeking attention, longing for recognition. The more we push it away, the louder it becomes. But when we turn toward it with compassion and curiosity, we find that it softens. It stops being a threat and becomes a guide. Jung's teachings remind us that integration, not eradication, is the goal. We don't overcome our shadow by denying it, we overcome it by understanding and embracing it. By doing so, we move closer to wholeness, where light and dark coexist in harmony within us. So I ask you this, what parts of yourself are you still resisting? What would it feel like to simply accept them? To sit with them without rushing to fix or change? Maybe, just maybe, those parts have been waiting all along to be acknowledged, to be seen, to be loved as they are. The process of individuation. Individuation is a lifelong journey. It's not about becoming someone new, but about becoming more fully who you already are. Carl Jung saw this as the essential path of human development. The integration of all parts of the self, both light and shadow. Imagine peeling back layers of identity, one by one, to find the core essence of who you are. It's not about discarding the parts you dislike, but rather accepting them and allowing them to coexist with your strengths, your joys, and your dreams. Jung believed that true wholeness comes not from perfecting oneself but from embracing both the beautiful and the flawed. Light without shadow is incomplete, just as a melody without pauses loses its rhythm. To be whole is to welcome every aspect of your being. In this process of individuation, you are invited to move beyond the need to constantly curate how others perceive you. It's liberating, really, letting go of the exhausting pursuit of perfection, allowing yourself to be both remarkable and vulnerable, wise and uncertain. An artist once spent years trying to paint the perfect portrait, erasing every flaw, hiding every mistake. One day, in a moment of frustration, they spilled paint across the canvas. At first, they felt defeated, but then, seeing the unexpected patterns, they realized something. Those imperfections were beautiful. They didn't destroy the art. They made it real, unique, alive. Individuation is like that. It's about allowing the unexpected to be part of your story, not forcing yourself to fit a flawless image. When you let go of perfectionism, you open yourself to creativity, to honesty, to being human rather than a constructed ideal. The paradox here is profound. By letting go of who you think you should be, you become more authentically who you are. In this way, you stop being a fragmented collection of roles and become a whole, integrated person. Someone at peace with their complexity. Can you feel the weight lift when you consider the possibility of just being real? Are you still trying to sculpt yourself into an unblemished version? Or are you allowing your humanity to show? It's not a flaw to be imperfect. It's a mark of being truly alive. Jung's insight guides us to practice self-acceptance, not as a passive resignation, but as an active embrace of our entire being. It's saying to yourself, I am both the light and the dark. I am both the mistake and the lesson learned. This is the freedom of individuation. Individuation is not a destination. It's a process. It's about letting life shape you without losing your essence. It's the dance between what you are and what you aspire to be, accepting that both parts coexist within you. So I ask you, are you allowing yourself to be real, or are you still caught in the endless pursuit of perfection? What if, in embracing your imperfections, you finally find your true self? Trusting the process. Trusting the process doesn't mean giving up or resigning to fate. It means choosing to believe that life has a natural way of unfolding even when we can't see the whole picture. It's not about passivity, but about having the courage to let things flow without forcing outcomes. Carl Jung once said, I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. These words remind us that while we cannot always control what life brings our way, we can choose how to respond. We can choose to see challenges not as obstacles, but as part of the path to growth and transformation. There is a quiet power in surrendering control. It's like allowing a river to guide you downstream rather than fighting against the current. It's not about abandoning effort, but redirecting your energy toward understanding and acceptance rather than endless resistance. Picture this, a woman constantly frets about her future. She plans and strategizes endlessly, worried about every detail. One day, overwhelmed, she decides to stop pushing so hard. She takes a step back, embraces stillness, and waits. In the space she creates, opportunities begin to present themselves. This is the paradox. When we stop trying to control every outcome, life often surprises us with possibilities we never imagined. Clarity often emerges from quiet observation, not from ceaseless planning. Sometimes the best ideas arise in moments of rest when the mind is free to wander and reflect. Have you noticed that sometimes your most creative thoughts, your best ideas, come not when you're actively searching for them, but when you allow your mind to breathe? It's as if inspiration lives not in the constant pursuit, but in the quiet moments of surrender. Trusting the process means believing that some things will work out without your interference. It's allowing yourself to pause, to breathe, and to let go of the endless need to manage every detail. It's an act of faith, a commitment to being present rather than anxiously predicting the future. The wisdom here is profound. When you release the pressure to control, you create space for new paths to appear. You might just find that by stepping back, the solutions you were chasing come to you naturally. So think about it. Have you ever felt like your best ideas or most meaningful insights come when you're not trying so hard to find them? Sometimes the universe responds to the energy of letting go, aligning your intentions with the flow of life. Practical tips for letting go. I want to invite you to practice mindful stillness, a gentle pause each day where you simply sit with your breath. noticing it flow in and out without trying to change anything. This simple act, done even for a few minutes, can open a space inside you where peace naturally arises, as if the world's noise softens and your heart finds quiet. It's like returning home after a long journey, a moment of rest for your soul. It's important, too, to acknowledge your feelings without rushing to push them away or fix them. When emotions come, whether sadness, anger, or fear, allow yourself to feel them fully, as clouds passing through a wide sky, neither clinging nor resisting. This simple acceptance creates room for healing, like a gentle rain nurturing thirsty earth, transforming what feels heavy into lightness. Another powerful step is to release expectations, not only about the results we want, but also about how and when things should happen. Focus instead on the process of living, learning, and unfolding. Like a river that flows without insisting on reaching the sea immediately, trusting the journey itself holds all the lessons and beauty you need. Expectations can be chains, and letting them go is a kind of freedom that invites peace to fill the space they once occupied. These practices, mindful stillness, emotional acceptance, and releasing expectations, are invitations to step gently away from control and into trust. They remind us that peace isn't a distant goal but a natural state waiting for us when we allow ourselves to be present and open. When you cultivate this openness, life begins to move with you, not against you, and your heart learns to dance with the unknown rather than fear it. I wonder, among these simple yet profound practices, which one calls to you the most? Which step feels like it might unlock a new space within your heart? Take a moment to reflect on this, and, if you feel comfortable, share your thoughts and experiences. Sometimes, sharing your journey reminds you that you're never alone on the path to letting go and finding peace. There is a quiet power in the art of doing nothing, a deep wisdom that reminds us sometimes the most profound healing, growth, and transformation arise not from constant effort, but from surrendering to the flow of life itself. When you stop trying to control every detail, you create space for life to arrange itself in ways more beautiful and unexpected than you could have planned. Trust that in this stillness, everything will find its perfect place. If you have ever felt caught in the endless loop of overthinking and pushing yourself beyond limits, I invite you to try something different. Simply let go, even if just for a moment. Give yourself permission to breathe, to release the need to control, and watch how the weight begins to lift. When you do this, you open the door to fresh perspectives and new possibilities that arise naturally, like dawn breaking after a long night. I encourage you to reflect on those moments in your life when stepping back, when surrendering control unexpectedly brought clarity, peace, or solutions that you had not imagined. Sometimes the answers come not from forcing, but from allowing. Your experience can inspire others. So please, share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Let's create a space where we learn together through gentle acceptance and mutual support. Thank you for spending this time here, allowing yourself to explore the power of letting go. If you find these reflections meaningful, I warmly invite you to subscribe and join our community, where we walk the path of self-growth and spiritual wisdom together, step by step, moment by moment, with compassion and openness. May peace and gentle understanding always accompany you on your journey.